Yo, check it out, man. We about to watch another good video. This one is about the psychology of Gen Z, the young people, the young adults. This is about the psychology of them, and I think it's gonna be interesting because I have a lot of young people in my life. I have 5 godchildren. I got 2 kids on my own, and a lot of young people, young cousins, and I would like to think I understand them, but they are different. They are different, and I'm curious as to the psychology behind them. So we're gonna check this out. I'm gonna give you my opinion and my commentary, and I think this is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a good one, and I'm gonna find out if the what is this Gen Z? If the Gen Zers that I know, if they agree with this. So y'all check my video out, and yeah, we're gonna walk through this together, learn something.
You know that thing where older generations look at Gen Z and think they're just broken? Too sensitive, too anxious, can't handle anything, glued to their phones like it's a life support system. Yeah. It's Psychology Unfolded, where we decode what makes you you. Turns out their brains are actually wired completely differently. And I'm not talking metaphorically here, I mean literally, neurologically, fundamentally different. The science behind this is wild, and it explains pretty much everything people get wrong about them. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you will completely change how you see the generation everyone loves to criticize. Here's what
Oh, I'm so curious because people do criticize the young people. I find myself doing it a lot, and I think I'm kind of biased because I don't really criticize the ones I know, like the ones I've raised, or the ones that work for me underneath me. I feel like I don't criticize them, and it's probably because I'm more hands on, and I'm able to kind of watch them and kind of understand and be empathetic to like where they are in this life and in this world right now. But I'm guilty of misinterpreting probably some younger people that I may see online. So yeah, we're gonna check this out. This is interesting. Shout out to y'all young folks, man.
nobody talks about. Gen Z isn't just soft or too sensitive. Their nervous systems are responding to a world that's objectively more intense than anything previous generations experienced at their age. And their brains developed during this chaos. That's not weakness, that's adaptation. Let's start with something that sounds insane but is backed by neuroscience. Gen Z's dopamine baseline is fundamentally different from every generation before them. You know how dopamine works, right? It's your brain's reward chemical. Every time something good happens, you get a text, you finish a task, someone likes your photo, tiny hit of dopamine. Your brain says, "Good job, do that again." But here's the kicker. Gen Z grew up with smartphones from childhood. Not as teenagers, not as young adults, literal childhood. Their brains were still developing, still forming neural pathways, still figuring out how rewards work, and they had infinite dopamine at their fingertips. Swipe.
I gotta process that. That's why I just stopped. Like I gotta process that because that really makes sense. If you get dopamines from the gratification of the bills going off and this that, and I have noticed that in some of the kids when they was younger, like they 1 years old and they know how to maneuver through a whole like tablet and do stuff like that. And it was some of them was having conversations with us, bro. Like a 1 year old having a whole conversation with a grown person using their words. And I can say they were more advanced than us in that because I don't think we was forming whole sentences at one. I think we were saying words. I don't think we were forming whole sentences and following conversations the way some of these 1 and 2 year olds do. And then with the cell phones, I can agree with that because when I was little, it wasn't at their age. It wasn't even no cell phones. And then as I got older, it was like the brick phones, which I still was too young to have. So when we finally got phones, it was like flip phones, probably Sprint. Yep, Sprint phones was probably like the first phones everybody was getting Sprints and them brick Nokias. So we had a transition, into this, whereas they was just born in it. Okay, y'all. Okay.
Dopamine. New notification. Dopamine. Funny video. Dopamine. Someone responded. Dopamine. Their brains learned that rewards come fast, frequent, and with minimal effort. Now, compare that to previous generations. You wanted to talk to your friend? You called their house phone and hoped they were home. You wanted entertainment? You waited until Saturday morning for cartoons. You wanted validation? You had to actually do something in the real world and wait for someone to notice. The dopamine hits were slower, less frequent, required more effort. So your baseline, your normal level of stimulation, stayed relatively low. Gen Z's baseline? Sky high. And this isn't theory. fMRI studies show that brains exposed to high-frequency digital rewards during development literally restructure their reward systems. The threshold for interesting or satisfying gets pushed higher and higher. So when someone tells Gen Z to just read a book, or go for a walk, or be patient, they're asking their brain to find satisfaction in something that barely registers on their dopamine radar. It's not that they don't want to, it's that their nervous system is literally screaming, "This is boring," because it's been trained to expect constant stimulation.
So have we allowed our children to just have ADD? Is this what they're telling us? Are they telling us that them being born and raised around technology has prevented them from being able to slow down and focus? Is that what they telling us? And it's crazy because I kind of see that in some of them. Not all of them, but some of the kids, they don't know how to calm down. But then I look at some of the parents too. Like, I've known people who can't slow down as adults. So, like, you know, but this is wild. I think people my age should watch this. I think we should try to understand young people more, because the future is theirs. And we should try to be a little more empathetic to the environment they were raised in, and then we can kind of tell them the kind of environment we were raised in. But I think we need to pay more attention to the effects of what they were born into.
And then everyone calls them lazy. Wild. But wait, it gets weirder. Because this dopamine rewiring doesn't just affect their attention span, it affects their anxiety levels too. Let's talk about the anxiety epidemic. Because yes, it's real. And yes, the numbers are terrifying. According to research by psychologist Jean Twenge, rates of anxiety and depression in teens have skyrocketed since 2010, right when smartphones became ubiquitous. We're talking a 50% increase in clinical anxiety disorders among Gen Z compared to millennials at the same age. 50%. And everyone's quick to blame social media, right? They're comparing themselves to everyone. They're getting cyberbullied. They're addicted to likes. True, but incomplete. Here's what's actually happening in their brains. Constant connectivity means constant social evaluation. Their nervous systems never get a break from being perceived, judged, and measured. Think about it. Previous generations, you went to school, you dealt with social dynamics, then you went home. Done. Social stress, over. Your brain could rest, recalibrate, recover. Gen Z, there's no going home. The group chat follows you. The Instagram story stays live. Someone's always posting, always performing, always watching. Your brain literally cannot distinguish between "I'm alone in my room" and "I'm being socially evaluated," because your phone makes them the same thing. This triggers something.
That's why I advocate for put the phones down, man. Anybody that know me know I don't have my phone just sitting on me. I don't even look. I don't even be looking for a phone to ring, okay? And I don't expect people my age to be sitting up on the phone, man. We call each other with a purpose. You call somebody, you tell them what you want, like tell them your reason for calling, or if somebody calling and they asking for something, or whatever the case may be. But people, you're supposed to call and state your business, man. Like, of course, from time to time, we're going to have those extended conversations, but to the magnitude of where the young people are and the way that they live by the phones, I think it's detrimental. Um, and even though they're making us aware of this, how do we help them with this? How do we convince them that you can be productive and have some fun putting your phone down? I wish they gave us an antidote, but maybe they will. Let's check it out.
Thing called chronic social monitoring. Your brain stays in low-level threat detection mode 24/7. Is someone mad at me? Did I say something wrong? Why didn't they respond? Am I being left out? Your nervous system never fully relaxes because the social environment never actually closes. And cortisol, your stress hormone, stays elevated. Not at panic attack levels, but at this constant simmer that your body can't sustain long term without consequences. The result? Anxiety becomes your baseline, not occasional worry, baseline. And then people ask why Gen Z is so anxious. Like they chose this. Now, here's the part that's going to mess with you. Gen Z isn't just dealing with normal developmental stress. They're dealing with what psychologists call collective chronic crisis mode. Let me paint you a picture of what it's like to grow up as Gen Z. You're born into a world that's already on fire, literally. Climate change isn't a distant threat. It's on the news constantly. Wildfires, floods, we have 10 years to fix this, or we're all doomed. You start school. Active shooter drills are as normal as fire drills. You're
Now, I agree with that because in school we did not have to worry about an active shooter like coming into our school. I didn't have that worry, but we did have recess canceled quite a bit because our park in front of the school where we had recess that might be some shooting going on from time to time. Somebody might get shot. So we had a different experience in that, but I could never imagine um, sitting in my classroom training for when the next school shooter is gonna run in here, or even seeing them on the news and knowing and seeing that they fit a certain demographic and then have to sit in school wondering about those people. I think that is a different type of worry, which I hadn't even considered in the psyche of the young people.
6 years old, hiding under your desk, learning that someone might come to kill you at school. That's not theoretical fear. That's your brain absorbing the world is dangerous during critical development years. You hit your teens. Economic crash, pandemic, isolation during the exact developmental window when your brain is supposed to be learning social skills, taking
My bad. I had to stop it right here because it blew me. Now that pandemic, that online education that they was giving our kids, I did feel like going to school online was not good for these kids. Some of them are focused. Some kids are focused. Some kids are just different in that way, and they enjoy school and they're focused. And then some kids need extra attention, and a lot of the kids' parents aren't even at a place where they can help them with their homework. So when they was forced into this online school thing, I definitely noticed that they didn't get what they needed at all, and that's messed up. That's messed up because now a lot of them are young adults, um, and not prepared, and it's not even their fault. It's messed up, man.
risks, forming identity. Then you're told you need to pick a career, go to college, which costs more than a house used to, and compete in an economy where entry level jobs require 5 years of experience. Oh, and also save the planet, fix systemic inequality, and have perfect mental health while doing it. Your brain is trying to develop a sense of safety and future, but every message you're getting is nothing is stable, nothing is safe, the world is ending, and it's on you to fix it. Here's something that'll surprise you. Despite all this, Gen Z scores higher on empathy measures than any previous generation. They care more about social justice, mental health awareness, inclusivity. They're the
I completely agree, and shout out Gen Z for that because what I have noticed is when they do focus on something that is meaningful to them, it's a lot more of the young people aware of what's happening in politics. And I didn't become aware of what was actually happening in politics until I was well into my 20s, where I decided I need to pay attention to politics. Whereas now, kids are coming out of high school and they're having political debates, and it's kids I watch on YouTube, young guys that talk about what's going on in this world, which means to a certain extent our future is in good hands, because a lot of them have conservative views that appear to be liberal to most people. But I feel like they believe in liberation. That's what they believe in. And I do think that a lot of them are going to change this world. But we got to get out the way, too. I'm not going to even lie. We got to get out of the way, and we got to try to give them the knowledge we have, but also understand that they're viewing the world and where it's going versus the people that are my age and older that are set in their ways. That is defeating the purpose. It's not going to get us anywhere. And at some point, we have to listen to these young people. You listen to these young people at some point, have some respect for them, the same kind of respect that we wanted when we were their age. That's all I'm saying. We're going to get back to it.
Generation calling out toxic behavior, setting boundaries, refusing to accept that's just how things are. Why? Because their brains developed in an environment of constant information exposure. They see everything: global issues, diverse perspectives, injustices happening in real time. Their mirror neurons, the parts of the brain responsible for empathy, have been activated more frequently than any generation before. They literally can't unsee suffering. That's not performative. That's their nervous system responding to unprecedented access to human experience. But caring about everything, all the time, while your own mental health is barely holding together, that's cognitive overload. And when older generations tell them to just focus on yourself or stop being so sensitive, they're asking Gen Z to turn off a part of their brain that's...
I agree. What's messed up is I got that same problem, and I'm older than them. But I can't unsee anything. I don't like injustices. I don't like to see the underdog being treated wrong. It's just I've seen too much to a certain extent. Just like these kids, they start seeing too much too young. I feel like I've seen too much suffering to ignore the suffering, and it does overload me mentally. So that's probably why I understand the young folks. That's probably why I truly understand them and have so much empathy for them. And like, I don't know. I love the shorties though. I love y'all.
Been fundamentally shaped by connectivity. You can't unring that bell. So what does all this mean? Gen Z isn't broken. They're responding exactly as any human brain would when raised in constant digital stimulation, perpetual social evaluation, and unrelenting crisis messaging. Their anxiety isn't weakness. Their need for mental health support isn't fragility. Their boundary setting isn't entitlement. It's their brain trying to survive in a world that's wired completely differently than the one previous generations navigated. And honestly, the fact that they're still here, still fighting, still creating, still caring, that's not just resilience. That's extraordinary. They're not the problem. The world they inherited is. If this resonated, drop a comment. Are you Gen Z, or do you finally understand them better? Don't forget to subscribe. We're breaking down generational psychology, and it's getting wild.
Man. Shout out Gen Z, man. Y'all, everybody need to watch this video, man. Y'all people my age, y'all need to watch this video. Y'all need to have conversations with these young people, because even though they don't do things exactly the way that we do them, they don't even talk exactly the way that we talk. If we communicate with them and get to understanding what it is that they see in this world and the reasoning behind their actions, we could be better at everything, man. So shout out Gen Z. I love y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what y'all think about this video down in the comments, and I'll holler at y'all on the next one.